Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys.
Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Can't wait for that Cowboy game this Sunday. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Maybe I dreamed. I dreamed they lost. I don't know.
I told you it was going to hurt, Skip.
Yeah, I'm good.
The farther you go along, the more it hurts.
Really?
Ooh, like jumping on the bike without the seat. Well, maybe it doesn't hurt that much, Jenny, but it hurts.
Really? Hurt not having those Chargers in the playoffs. Right?
Yeah. I don't love the Chargers like you love the Cowboys.
That's your best friend, Anthony Lynn? I don't know.
If that had been the Broncos, you might have a legitimate argument.
Oh, well, the Broncos have been home for a long time.
And guess who joined them on the couch?
Yeah.
Guess who's going to be watching Sunday game right alongside them?
I don't know.
Ezekiel Dak.
Yeah.
Oh, Dakota Prescott.
Yeah, and old Jason Garrett, he's going to get an extension. How are you?
Somehow he's sticking around.
Somehow.
Steve Jones said hold up on that coaching.
Scott Linehan.
Yeah, everybody hold up on that.
Hold up on that.
Well, maybe you have more to say about that. But we have a lot more to get to on today's show. Is Skip's guy Kyler Murray making a big mistake? And how does Shannon feel about Tom Brady's new Instagram video? But hey, we are going to start with the Cowboys. Their season ended on Saturday, but now it appears the Rams might have had a big advantage. Two Rams offensive linemen told The Ringer that the Cowboys' defensive line was tipping their signals before up to 90% of their snaps. Rams center John Sullivan said, quote, "We had a lot of tips and tells on what they were going to do in front of us. That could be a big reason why the Rams rushed for 273 in the game." So, Shannon, do you believe this?
I do believe it. I'm surprised that there's a great chance you're going to see this team next year. Both of you guys won the division, and division winners normally face each other. Normally, you don't tell that situation, Skip, until after it's long past. But I do believe it, Skip. There are telltales, and you're always constantly trying to pick that up. You have guys, and that's their sole job, is to pick up tendencies. And when you watch 16, 17 games, you develop tendencies. Now, the Cowboys do a great job. They do a lot of twisting, a lot of stunting up front. And when you twist or stunt, what we mean by that, sometimes, Skip, the end will crash down, the tackle will loop around. In order for you to do that successfully, you have to stagger just a little bit. Now, maybe to the person at home, you can't see it. And maybe, unless you've seen enough of this on tape, you don't notice it. But like I said, when we had guys that break down tape, they look, okay, if you look at this situation right here, they're going to come with a stunt. Because you can see the end is a little further back and the tackle is a little further up. So that's tipping the guys off. But at the end of the day, yes, Skip, you can tip it off, but you still have to execute.
You do.
And when you rush for that many yards, not only is the offensive line doing a great job in the blocking game, your tight ends and your wide receivers, because you're not just getting 3-4 yards a clip. You're getting chunk plays. You're getting 30-yard runs. You're getting 12, 15-yard runs. And you need wide receivers to also contribute to the running game. So, yes, Skip, when you saw what they did to the #1 rushing team, and you saw how they shut that off, the Dallas Cowboys, the week before, to have the Rams, yes, the Rams can run the football. Todd Gurley was, I think he finished in the top 5 in rushing. But they had somewhat gone away from that. But you know they got a good offensive line, Skip. When you get C.J. Anderson off his couch on a Wednesday, and he comes in and rushes for $170 on Sunday, and then he follows that up with another $130 on the following Sunday, and then he goes for 123. So that lets you know that you have a very good offensive line. Not to discount anything C.J. Anderson did in that game, but when you can rush for those kind of yards, when you haven't played as much as C.J. has, that lets you know. And to go for 273, the Rams are not known. This is a Tennessee Titans type game, Skip. They run the ball 40-plus times. You don't think of Sean McVay, the mad genius, the boy genius, is going to run it that many times. But clearly they saw something on tape that they were able to take advantage of. So do I believe it? Yes, they were tipping plays. And that's what you do. You look for tendencies and you try to take advantage of it.
To your first point, I've never been keen on teams that ran to the locker room after a big win and had to run tell about all the tells that they had, because you will eat those words at some point. And I know 3 offensive linemen were talking to the reporter from The Ringer, because he had lots of on the record. These weren't these are on the record.
Right.
And to your first point, the Los Angeles Rams do have to play at Jerry World next year. It's a done deal because division winners play, especially NFC West is going to play NFC East division winner. So that will happen. So
Beat down
we
again,
can't wait to see you guys next year.
So you get another beat down.
Yeah,
Aren't you
we'll get
tired
another
of that?
beat down. Yeah, we'll see about that. But we'll see how much they're run telling about their tails after that game. But to your point, maybe they did pick up a little, some secret tips that they saw that, maybe Sean McVay and his coaches are just better than Sean Payton and his coaches or Pete Carroll and his coaches, because I watch my team just shut down and virtually out the Seattle run game, which was #1 in the NFL, and they had 22 at halftime on the way to 73 total. And then Sean Payton came in there, and they could really run the ball in New Orleans. At that point in the season, they had a grand total of 65 yards at Jerry World and lost 13-10. So my team was doing something right in that capacity all year long, because they wound up 5th in the league in stopping the run.
Correct.
So were the Rams just smarter and better? Because they had 170 yards in the first half. In all my years of following playoff games, not just for my Cowboys, but all teams, I've never been more shocked by how a team jumped out to a lead than that was. I just sat back in awe, because this is the one thing, we did see it, and you brought it up. In Indianapolis, we saw it. When they had a 2-game, they jumped out to a 2-game division lead, and I thought they just sort of mailed it in Indianapolis, because they didn't really have to win that game to win the division, but they mailed it in, and they got mailed right out of town in a bag, because they got run over 178 yards total,
right,
but not 273, not 170 in the first half. So I still haven't recovered from that. I was dumbfounded by that. And that was obviously compounded by the fact that in the first half, it was a 20-7 halftime lead, and it could have been worse, you could argue. It also could have been a little closer without that 3rd and 14 all-time horrendously ticky-tack call, hands to the face on Byron Jones, and then the even more horrendous in-the-grasp call on Dak when he was in the grasp of his own offensive lineman, Lyle Collins.
Why was Lyle Collins way over there anyway? He the right tackle.
I don't know.
How he go clear on the left side?
He had to throw him open, so he threw him into the open, and it cost them at least 3 points and maybe 7 points. So despite all that, then we get to the second half, and I got to tell me, you can run tell this one. I don't think the tells were working all that well in the second half, because my Cowboys started to click. They started to shut down the run a little bit, a lot more than they did in the first half, because Dallas outgained the Rams 189-168 in the second half and won it 15-10. So something started to happen in the second half.
Of the 168, 103 of them was on the ground.
100 yards they had in the second half.
Yeah.
But still, it was way better than 170 in the first half, because you can live with 100 in the second half because you outscored them and you actually had chances to win the game when you had 4th and short, the first play of the fourth quarter, and you get stuffed with the most pathetically predictable call in the history of calls.
You remember Goff took 2 knees at the end of the game.
Okay.
So they could have added some more to it.
Okay,
because they ran the clock out, Skip.
They actually added on to it at the very end after Jared Goff was allowed to run for 11 yards on 3rd and 7 from the 28, which was the absolute dagger play in the whole game, because you're about to get the ball back with 2 minutes left, and you're still only down 8 points.
You weren't going to do anything with it.
Oh, my quarterback, who led the NFL and game-winning drives in the fourth quarter and overtime over the last 3 years, I think I like my chances there.
You like your chances going into the game.
Okay, so what do I think happened? Maybe there were some secret tells going on. You know what I think happened?
What happened?
I think my defense just didn't show up for the first half, because we've seen this consistently happen with Jason Garrett-coached teams. I'm going to say it again. Jason Garrett's a nice guy. He coached Clapp. He's going to be exactly himself every day, every week, every month of the year.
So you know that.
Okay, you know what you're going to get, because he can't motivate his way out of a wet paper bag.
Okay.
But in this case, you need to get your defense ready. And maybe the whole focus probably during the week was, we have to stop the pass. We know we can stop the run, but we got to stop the pass. So what happened against Green Bay? So lately, Jason Garrett's had 2 big playoff losses, one to Aaron Rodgers and one at the Rams. What happened in both of those games that reminded you of the other game? What happened?
Dak didn't play well early?
No, Dak played great in both the games. He played sensational.
No, he didn't. Stop saying that.
Well, he just did.
He did not.
He outplayed Aaron Rodgers in that game. I can just show you the numbers. And what happened the first time against Aaron Rodgers? It was 21-3 Green Bay with 7 minutes left in the second quarter. That's how bad. That's how the defense didn't show up in that game. Whose fault is that? That defense hadn't played that poorly the whole year. Why didn't they show up? Is it Rod Marinelli's fault? Maybe, because I look at him as more of a motivator than Jason Garrett. Okay. This time I got to throw Chris Richard in there, because did they just not get their front ready?
They like they gave Chris Richard an aneurysm. You see him on the sideline yelling at Van Der Esch.
But should you have been doing that yelling before the game to get them